Kevin Bosk,
Hey.
welcome to Irish Startup TV.
Thank you.
Kevin, you're from Refer Me Please.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about what you're up to?
Yeah, definitely. So Refer Me Please is a professional social network where job seekers can connect directly to employees working in the company they want to work for. They connect to each other, and if there is a match, there is a referral, basically. So it's kind of match.com for jobs.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what's your revenue model?
No revenue for now. I'm just trying to build a big users database first, and then I'll think about revenue streams. So basically for me, there's not going to be any revenue for the next 18 to 24 months.
So you're concentrating on building a monster of a user base?
Definitely. Kind of for Facebook.
Super. That's great to have, you know, start off big. Why not?
Yeah.
You've come from Google.
Yeah.
What kind of skills did you bring from Google? What was your role at Google?
Well, you know, at Google, they're really trying to focus on data. For them, data is like religion. So when you're working at Google, you learn how to deal with data. So definitely it's helping me for the startup. And as I was an AdWords account manager, I was dealing with the online advertising as well. So like definitely good skills to have.
How did you end up in Google in Dublin? You were originally born in France.
Yeah. Well, just like at the end of the college, I was applying to companies and I got referred at Google, and they said, look, like there is a job here and we would want you like to come, and I was like, okay, that's Google, so yeah.
Fantastic.
I'm gonna come.
And had you spent some time internationally prior to settling down in Dublin?
Yeah, so I've moved around a lot. So I was born in Valence, then I moved to Lyon, then to the south of France near Cannes, then to Paris, London, the USA, back to Paris, and then finally Dublin.
So why Google in Dublin? Was it specifically that they required you to be in Dublin?
Well, the thing is, like, Google here, it's their European HQ, so loads of people from France, for example, are here in Dublin. Here you have 69 nationalities, because mainly here in Dublin people are dealing with the AdWords accounts. So as my job was like dealing with the AdWords accounts, like. Okay.
And why then did you decide to do a startup in Dublin? You could have done it anywhere in the world, like Berlin or San Francisco.
Yeah, for me it was really easy to start my startup here because I was able to grow a good network here. I have some friends working at Airbnb, LinkedIn, Facebook, and as I'm targeting mainly for now these companies, it was better for me to stay here and attend some networking events, or even just like talk to this person to promote the website, and for taxes reason as well. It's much better than in France, so that's one of the reasons, yeah.
Have you faced any challenges? So you came to Ireland with Google, so obviously it's a nice way to come into a country. Now that you're no longer with Google, how do you find the cost of living in Dublin?
Pretty expensive. If you think about apartments, it's really expensive and it's really hard to find an apartment. So when you're bootstrapping like me, it's quite like a huge chunk of your savings going to your apartments. And when you're trying to find a place to work, like a co-working space, an incubator, it's quite expensive as well. We're here at the Leafy Trust, and it's one of the cheapest one, just because you don't have any networking events, but you have a desk and you have people to interact with, so it's enough.
And had you considered any other locations in Dublin on the commercial side for an office space?
Yeah, I was looking at Dogpatch Labs, for example. I really like it, it's really modern, and they just had a partnership with Google as well, which makes it like really strong. The only thing is quite expensive. When you don't have any revenue, you can't afford spending 400 euros per month per desk. So yeah.
Where to next for the business? Are you looking to raise a round?
Hopefully in the US. Okay. This is definitely where I want to go, because I think this is where I'm going to be able to bring my startup to the next level in terms of its investments and networking opportunities as well. Mainly focusing on the Silicon Valley parts. This is why I'm trying to apply to incubators based there. Like Y Combinator, for example, just apply it, so fingers crossed that they're gonna say yes, and other incubators based in Los Angeles, San Francisco, or like the Bay Area.
So you've been very clear that Ireland is a great opportunity for you at the moment to build out your idea, but that you see the US as being the place to go for the investment and also for the accelerator. Would you like to expand on why that is?
Well, I think Dublin is a great place for startup. There is a good bubble of startup and a true community. The only thing is here in Dublin, or even in Europe, I'd say like investors, for example, are more focusing on startup generating revenue from the beginning, or at least in their next 6 months. Dublin as well, like investments in Ireland, is more focusing on fintech, for example.
So you mentioned that you have aspirations of being a Facebook in scale. So
I'd say more LinkedIn.
Okay.
Actually, yeah.
Okay. So very much it's about getting the users up as quickly as you can, and you feel that the US investors will respond better to a massive user base minus revenue, versus your concern is that the European investors will be more focused on revenue and paying customers.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely, yeah. When you look at companies like Facebook, LinkedIn, Dropbox, Snapchat, they're just trying to build their users database first, so then they can understand what their customers want, and then they're bringing revenue. So this is quite like what I want to do.
So you mentioned Y Combinator, so what's next on the roadmap, and where do you see yourselves in the business in 6 months' time?
Well, I'd say in the US, hopefully. I'm at the stage of like trying to raise money as well, because I'm bootstrapping, and at one point I need to raise money to hire people.
And what will your first hire, your first couple of hires look like?
Would be my CTO. For now in the team, so there is me, the CEO, and the co-founder. My housemate is the co-founder, and we just brought a girl from August. She's the CMO, and I really need a CTO right now to deal with the websites and add new features. It's an agency based in France that built the websites, but when you don't have anyone on board, that's critical.
So you're not a developer, but you're an idea owner with some technical experience from working at Google with the Google AdWords platform. How did you go about building out the initial project? Did you do some mock-ups? What was the process with the developers in France like?
Well, I just tried to thought what would be the easiest idea for candidates and employees to connect to each other. I asked some friends like used to work in the UI and UX design, so I got the idea of what I wanted to have. So then I just sent them Photoshop files with like the mock-up, saying like this is what I want, and they just built it. And then to understand what they're doing, I'm trying to learn how to code as well. Fantastic. Which is really tricky. But it's good, like at least to understand, even if I'm not able to write and to code, like.
Yeah, I think it makes it a lot easier if you know you're talking about apples and oranges as distinct from, I don't know, tomatoes and potatoes. So tell me, have you found any good resources to help you to learn how to code?
Codeacademy.com.
Okay, codeacademy.com.
Yeah, it's easy. You can learn any languages. So I started with HTML and CSS, which is pretty basic, then moved to JavaScript, and then I'm just trying to learn the backend language like Ruby, for example.
So what kind of advice would you have to other startuppers that are maybe at the ideas phase and maybe they're not a technical person? What would the advice be? Would it be hire a great CTO, or would it be learn yourself?
That would be, well, it depends on the time you have. For example, if you have the idea, but you have maybe like, you don't want to start your company now, maybe you can learn yourself and just like you can use your idea to build something. But if you really want to start quickly, you need to have someone like technical in your team. Definitely it's a good asset. If
you had a do-over, would you use an external developer overseas again?
I'm not sure. I think I would wait to find someone technical to join the team. It's much easier. You can control what's being done, and even when you're trying to raise money, you can show that in your team you have someone technical and someone dealing with business side, so it's much better. Kevin, thanks so much for speaking with us today. You're welcome. Best of luck with the Y Combinator application. I look forward to seeing the next interview in TechCrunch. Thank you. Thank you.